Dear readers, welcome to our message, which in reality is your message because the consciousness of the readers draws forth the message they are in alignment with. All is proceeding according to plan. High resonating frequencies of light now flowing to Earth from the Sun are continuing to expose pockets of dense energy thousands of years old, some of which is presently manifesting as war. If or when personal clearings become physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually draining and difficult, allow them to unfold rather than automatically responding with fear and resistance. Always remember that releasing of old energy is a forward step, not a backward one, in spite of the effects that often accompany them. Trust that your higher self is always governing the process and does not need direction as to how to do it. Be prepared for an approaching time of chaos and fear that will especially affect those resisting change and promoting the return of obsolete concepts rather than allowing Earth to evolve into a new and higher resonating world of oneness. Remember that Earth and all life on her is spiritual rather than the material or physical sense of everything that most have come to accept as being the real world. You have and utilize a material or physical vehicle on Earth because it is necessary for living in the lower resonating frequencies of a three-dimensional planet, but you never become that body. You travel in a car, but never become the car. You are not, never have been, and never can be just material or physical, and doubting, resisting, or denying this doesn't change the fact that you are spiritual. Present times are difficult and frightening for those who have built their foundation on three-dimensional concepts they believe guarantee them safety, security, and happiness. When these concepts are questioned or changed, they lash out in anger, fear, and resistance in attempts to keep the status quo constituting their security. Fear is the natural expression of a consciousness of separation and is the source of all violence, resistance, power over, war, abuse, suffering, hatred, self-righteousness, and suicide. No one can stop the spiritual ascension process taking place at this time because the Earth is not material. Earth is the manifestation of a divine idea in the mind of God, infinitely perfect, whole, complete, and beautiful. As with all concepts, material concepts of Earth must eventually collapse because belief is all that maintains and sustains concepts. As mankind spiritually evolves and Earth's collective consciousness becomes more spiritually enlightened, its creations will begin to more closely reflect reality. Earth as a three-dimensional planet has been the perfect place for souls to learn and evolve because experience is available on all levels. The first stage is the physical, where the person experiences all their pains and pleasures physically. Next, the soul begins to develop on the mental level, noticing beauty and thinking of people and things outside of self. Then the emotional level unfolds and the soul begins to experience and understand emotions of self and others. Most live many lifetimes from these three levels until at some point they are prepared to learn about and experience the spiritual truth about Earth, him or herself, and all life. Souls choosing to evolve through Earth School learn from lifetimes lived as every skin color, both genders, lives short and long, some very difficult and some not, experiences only a three-dimensional planet can offer. When a soul has learned everything necessary from the three-dimensional level and has completed his or her contract, they no longer need to keep reincarnating on Earth but can continue their evolution in the higher realms or on a more advanced planet. The spiritual ascension of Earth is the reason so many evolved souls with no further need for three-dimensional lessons volunteered to incarnate once again. Most evolved souls appear to be ordinary humans living ordinary lives, but in reality they are lifting Earth's frequencies and seeding the collective consciousness with truth and light simply through the presence on Earth of their evolved states of consciousness. As truth and light increases in collective consciousness, increasingly more individuals can and will access it, lifting and shifting Earth's overall vibration. Never forget that Earth is a spiritual universe, every person's real identity is divine, and that every life is in and of the only life. Do not attempt to understand this with your mind because human minds are limited by personal conditioning and collective belief. God is infinite and spiritual, and thus incomprehensible to finite, limited, and conditioned minds, although many have tried and many more think they have accomplished it. However, God is always revealing itself but speaks in a small still voice that must be listened for. Regardless of how real the material or physical world may seem, even in its highest and best forms, it can only ever be the illusory dream that mankind has been dreaming for thousands of years, that they themselves created out of duality, separation, and two powers. Life lived on Earth is like watching a film or play. You become fully engrossed and feel the emotions of every good and bad situation and even begin to identify with the characters, but there comes a point at which the curtain comes down, the house lights turn on, and you find yourself being yourself once again. The lights of Earth are turning on and the three-dimensional curtain is coming down. Spiritual evolution can never be stopped because it is not an event but is a revealing. Spiritual reality has always been fully present, but majority states of consciousness remain unable to energetically align with anything other than what they can see, hear, taste, touch or smell with the physical senses. However, this is rapidly changing and many are waking up into new and higher states of awareness. You cannot go beyond omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence. We are the Arcturian group.